From the Sim Racer's Edge, live from Pocono, it's the Bravo Series. Live on ESPN, Tony Trapasso up in the booth, joined with me by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the living legend himself, Mr. Byron Rodney. Byron.
You are too kind.
Good to have you with us tonight.
It's good to be with us tonight. I'm hardly ever able to get with one of the Sim Racers Edge races. Looking forward to it as we are running around this tricky triangle that I like to call Pocono. No! But we do that for a reason. 3 turns, not 4, Ronnie Osmer. 3 turns here, all modeled distinctly after 3 different tracks. Trivia question will be asked later.
You're never going to let that kid live that down, are you?
Heck no, man. If he ever races in a real race where he's in an ARCA car, I expect to fully see him work his way up in the big leagues. We're going to that race. We're sitting in turn 3 holding up a sign saying turn 4.
Absolutely. Sounds like a game plan. But joining us in the production truck tonight, new member to the ESBN broadcast team, Mr. Brad Kirby on the 1s and 2s tonight. He'll be giving you the pictures. As qualifying underway right now, Michael Bourne sitting on provisional pole. Handful of cars out there for solo qualifying. Michael Bourne sitting atop the pile right now with a 42.0. 42.1 goes to Tyler Bloom, currently sitting second quick. How about the guy sitting in fourth? Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett putting one down, getting bumped to fifth.
But I got my eyes on the number 7 Rick Ravon machine as he's coming around turn 2, hustling it in anger, laying down his hot lap right now, getting ready to bring it off into turn 3.
Absolutely. And the one thing you got to be careful of in this particular car, now that's a throwaway lap. That's his out lap, if you will. And they're giving him 2 laps of qualifying. But the one thing you really got to be careful of, especially when we, on that opening lap, is Ravon's coming down the Long Pond Straight right now, going into the tunnel turn. There's a reason why they call it the tunnel turn, and that's where they bring the haulers in and out of the track. And the transitions, especially on the version of Pocono that we're using tonight, this is the air quote legacy version that doesn't have all the safer barriers around the infield like you would see in a modern race, as shocker.
41.88 posted up on there, lap in purple, best fastest lap on top of the heap right now.
Yeah, big shocker. Rick Ravon going to the top of the pile. Still need quite a few cars to put in time. Mark McFadden out on track right now. Jeff Hollingsworth out on track right now. Bentley Glazer out on track. Will Fletcher out on track. Johnny Antonucci out on track. So Hollingsworth goes 5th quick on his opener.
If I remember right, Ravon ran about that same speed on his opener, 42.04 on the open lap. Ravon was able to shave it down to 41.88. That's hauling the mail around Pocono here.
Especially with no draft help. Now, mind you, we have had 3 cars go sub 42 in qualifying. That, of course, being Rick Ravon, Yari Brapatcher, and James Langervin.
He's going to kick us in the ding-ding so bad.
And Hollingsworth goes 2nd quick. 33 1,000ths of a second difference.
Going to be starting right to the outside elbow of Rick Ravon.
And you know that those two know how to work the draft. So definitely 2 drivers to keep an eye on. And we've been receiving reports all hot lap session long. This setup is mint.
Yep, all the drivers seem to like this setup. The one thing I did not get a chance to do, I didn't ask about fuel load, so I don't know how far we're going to go on, how many laps we're going to get on a tank of Go Fast.
81%, probably looking 17 laps.
17 laps at Pocono. Okay, I didn't see if we ran tire sets tonight either.
Unlimited tire sets.
Unlimited tires.
And while we're at it, let's take a quick look at the weather conditions. Mostly cloudy skies, ambient air temperature in Pocono, Pennsylvania, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Mountains, very picturesque area. If you ever get a chance to go there, beautiful resorts in that area year-round. Great fishing in the summer, great skiing in the winter. But currently 77-degree ambient air temperature, track temperature up to 90 with a 2-mile-an-hour wind pointing right straight down the Long Pond straightaway in the driver's face.
Okay, so that is going to make that car not want to turn so well coming to turn 3, which happens to be the flattest turn on the track. And and that to me is the turn you want to get right out of all 3 turns on this track. The front stretch on this thing, you can land an airplane on it. It is long. It is the longest straightaway that we have in this series. These guys are going to be looking for all the speed they can get. So what you want to do is you need to get that turn 3 exit just right so you can get as much speed as you can going down that front straight. But then you're going to be with that wind direction in your face. That's going to make you want to be loose going off into turn 1.
Well, you got a side. The Long Pond straightaway is actually the straightaway between turns 1 and 2.
Okay, tricky triangle. Wind coming this way.
You got a side wind coming down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that's going to affect your turn 3, going to affect your turn 1, going to affect your turn 2. 3 different corners modeled on 3 different tracks. Tony, take us around there.
All right, so turn 1, you've got a high banked sweeper. It's the most banked corner on the track, modeled after a certain defunct racetrack that used to be located in New Jersey. It takes you down the Long Pond straightaway into the tunnel turn, tricky turn 2, where you've got to be real careful about the transition going into the turn that is modeled actually after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then you go down the short chute that leads to turn 3, which is modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. Tonight's trivia question. As we come back down the longest straightaway of any oval track anywhere in the world, what defunct New Jersey racetrack, and Rick Ravon, you're not allowed to answer this question, is turn 1 modeled after?
Ooh, I know, but I'm out of the contest.
Yeah, you don't count.
I don't count. Last time I went to a trivia night, our friend Kevin Paskowitz, that happened to be one of the trivia questions, and I happened to be the only soul there that knew it.
You're welcome.
Oh, you happened to be there too.
Yeah.
How do you think I got that answer? You were on our team.
Yeah. No, that wasn't the last trivia night you went to, because you went to one after I came back to New York.
Yeah, I haven't been back in a long time. Welcome to COVID, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, they do happen to do a virtual trivia night, but the only thing is, unfortunately for me, it's during the Wednesday night Alpha Series broadcast, which you can find here on the ESPN family of broadcasts every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday night, guys are running the new Indy cars, running road courses, running oval courses. Great racing. Do you want to let everyone know when Sim Racing Edge came to ESPN, the first race that we broadcast, how close was that finish?
1/10,000th of a second.
We had to go to iRacing to find out who won that, ladies and gentlemen, because our timing and scoring did not have that many zeros behind the little, decimal point there. iRacing had to declare the winner for us after we sent them the telemetry. That's how close that race was. And then we backed it up with another one.
Yeah, the very next mile and a half we went to.
These guys know
Michigan, they did it. Oh, they did it at Michigan too. So, yeah, I mean, these guys, you folks are in for a treat. So tonight's broadcast being brought to you in part by Turn Racing. Turn Racing linking the sim world to the real world of motorsport. Our good friends over at Diecast Nuts for all your diecast related collectible needs. Diecastnuts.com. And our very good friends over at Rocket Setups, as the field getting ready to start to grid up right now. Still waiting on a couple of stragglers. Starting up on the pole the Jersey Jet himself, Mr. Rick Ravon. He's going to be joined there with Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97. Yari Brupatcher and Bentley Glazer are going to make up row number 2. Row 3 sees James Langvin. Go ahead and just
he's gonna kick us
write
completely
me hate mail later. He's going to be joined with Will Fletcher. And Michael Bourne and Mark McFadden make up row number 4. Byron?
Jackson Bell and Tyler Bloom, they're going to be taking up the 9th and 10th position. Starting right behind them will be Carl Burke, followed with Johnny Antonucci to his elbow. Our co-founder, along with Tony Trapasso here, Sam Cooper Bennett, he's out there. He's going to be rolling off in the 13th position. Ron Hollyfield is going to roll off in the 14th. Shane Loveridge, 15th, followed by Butch Davis and Leonard Elijah, rounding out the field, starting shotgun in P17.
I don't think Butch is actually partaking tonight.
I see Butch in there, but I don't see Butch on the track.
So Butch Davis, the eye in the sky, going to be doing race control for us tonight. Thank you, Butch, for doing that. So Leonard Elijah going to be starting shotgun on the field in 16th position. 120 laps, the scheduled distance here tonight as the field forms up behind the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, the official pace car of iRacing. Byron, I'm looking through the licensing right now, and I'm seeing a boatload of Blue Bumper Brigade. And for those of you who are members of the iRacing server as well, that, of course, means that we've got a lot of A-class drivers in here. 2 Bs, a C, and a D. Sounds like my last report card.
You did that well? I'm not going to ask.
Anyways, how else do you think I got in engineering school?
Yeah, well, you know what? I discovered girls too early, so mine had little letters a little further down the line.
So, field working its way down the Long Pond straightaway, coming into the tunnel turn right now. Now, this is going to be one of the few times tonight that they're going to be able to get away with going too wide and not have me white knuckle my wheelchair handles.
Too wide in the tunnel turn. When that car hits that bump at the speeds that they'll be traveling, the car on the outside is going to have a hard time keeping the suspension settled underneath them, keeping it pointed in the right direction without meeting Mr. Outside Wall.
Well, more importantly, the car on the inside's got to worry about getting into the car on the outside.
Yeah, there'll be a few, how should we say, underwear.
First you say it, then you do it. First you say it, then you do it kind of moments. As the field works its way out of turn 3, pace car is in. The only thing that's left to do, pull the belts tighter one more time, take a tear off, and Grandpa. Happy St. Patrick's Day a little bit early from ESBN as we are underway. Green flag is out. Ravon pulling the trigger. He's got Yari Brupatcher all over his transmission tunnel right now as they haul it off into turn number 1.
Yeah, Rick Ravon leading the pack. Brupatcher right behind him. Jeff Hollingsworth, not surprised, holding down that 3rd position as the rest of the field behind him starting to sort it out. As we made that comment, they are going to go first lap too wide through the tunnel turn.
As Brupatcher just full send-it mode going into the turn. Ravon had it scouted very well and just let him go. Fights back coming into turn number 3, though. Now, here's a little interesting fact for those of you who've never driven this car in this sim. You can actually bump draft in an Indy car.
Yeah, not recommended, but can be done.
So if you got 2 guys that are willing to work together early, trying to get by someone, they can work together, and you can haul it off into turn number 1 at roughly a 235, almost 240 mile an hour.
Well, these guys are cranking the speed. Hollingsworth's got the point. It's been him and Ravon back and forth, and they're starting to get a little bit of a pull through. Ooh, Ravon looked like he might have brushed that wall coming out of turn 3 as they haul it down the front straight. But Ravon gets that preferred low line as they trade the lead back again. Move Ravon to the point.
1/1000th of a second at the stripe for Ravon that time over Hollingsworth. Tell me that these guys aren't trying to lead.
Now, moving 200 plus miles per hour, things happen fast, even at a track as large as the tricky triangle here at Pocono.
This track is all about timing your runs, and so far, Ravon's been able to time his runs as Will Fletcher, the twin car at Hollingsworth, moves up into the number 3 slot, and that's not going to get confusing at all.
No, not at all, with the pink jobs as close as they are. But thank God for my timing and scoring as I see Ravon back to the point. Hollingsworth, Fletcher, followed by Jackson Bell, and rounding out your top 5, Jari Brubacher.
And Bentley Glazer dropped 2 spots in turn 1 that time, as they are already back into turn 3.
Now, we didn't get a very good conversation on, we were talking maybe 17 laps is the fuel window that we're looking at. Are these guys going to be looking for, whoa, caution comes out as William Fletcher went for the ride. See if we can find what happened with William.
He had help.
Yeah, he had help, and then he got the vomit spin.
Jeepers. Well, the good news is at least iRacing made it so this car doesn't break dance anymore.
No.
So that brings out our first caution of the night. Working lap 6 right now.
And I believe you lost the over-under bet.
No.
You said 5.
No, I said 5 cautions. But to answer your question, Byron, if you're in the top 5, I don't see him coming in for tires yet. Yes, they have unlimited sets, but track position is so big here. If you're in the top 5, I don't see anybody coming in. I'm thinking from Michael Bourne back, it's worth the gamble. You're already you're already you okay?
I sent our production booth a little poke.
Okay, but anyway, well, there we go. There's your answer. Everybody's coming in. So it looks like
why not?
Tires are already going away at 6 laps. And with as hard as these guys are running, that's not surprising. Especially with the new tire model that iRacing has put on this car. This has the new tire model just like the new Indy car. So tires are going to be a factor.
Yeah.
So anytime you can get, 4 Mr. Feelgoods and a tank of Go Fast, you're going to do it. As Ravon winning the battle off pit road, looks like Hollingsworth,
Bell and Brubacher follow him out, and Bentley Glazer moving up to that top 5 position.
Absolutely. So, Will Fletcher looks like he has put it on the hauler.
Heartbreak for Will.
Now, they do have one quick repair. So this is one of those few tracks that you can pit under green and not lose a lap. So under caution, he might have lost one with a toe. Maybe. But, Will Fletcher, the first one to actually put it on the hauler, so it's going to relegate him to 16th position. As we've got 6 in the books. And now, Byron, this is my first time with the SRE Bravo series. Is it like the Alpha series where it's single file restarts? Do you know?
Well, being how that I have the privilege of actually doing my first SRE Bravo series broadcast tonight, I'm fixing to find out along with the rest of you right now. Or I can just do the old I'll be right back.
That works too. And I don't know where that went. But lights are out on the Ford Mustang GT 500 pace car.
User left your channel.
As Rayvon going to bring us back to green. From the looks of it, we are single file. So.
User joined your channel.
Okay, I went and I kind of poked my head over into the other side of the glass over here where the powers that be sit. Yes, single file restarts here in the Bravo series.
All right, then. So Rayvon's going to be able to pull the trigger from the time the pace car twitches for about 200 feet. That's when the green flag is going to come out. Being as this is the air quote legacy version of this track. So field working its way through the tunnel turn right now. And if you've never been on this track, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress enough how unsettled that corner can be. Now, the setup that they've got in the car tonight, great. As Rayvon brings him through turn 3, he is going to try to get some distance between himself and Jeff Hollingsworth, but much like a plate track in a cup car, you've got to be careful how much of a lead you get because you're just going to give that guy the run. Pace car is in. Green flag is out. We are back underway with 8 laps in the books.
Yep. Green flag comes out. Rick Rayvon hits the loud pedal. That's the skinny one on the right-hand side. He says, see you, boys. I'm out of here. Catch me if you can. But, like you said, it's kind of like a plate track. You get out there too far ahead, you're going to be a sitting duck because everyone's going to be forming up in the draft, and they're going to be coming with that head of steam.
Absolutely. As Jackson Bell tried to make something happen going into turn 1, but lost a ton of momentum. As Hollingsworth to the inside going through the tunnel turn. One of those deals where Rayvon had it scouted coming out of the Long Pond straightaway. And I'm thinking Hollingsworth, he's making his move a little too early. Oh, we got somebody into the wall off of 3. That's Bentley Glazer going around. And it looks like he collected...
Shane Lubridge.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a kind of a hard hit, big hit.
Somebody just caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games.
No kidding.
Who was in the black car? Glazer. Yeah, Bentley Glazer just... That's a thank God this is a simulator moment.
Yeah, it is. But, going back to that original thing, you saw that move that Jeff Hollingsworth put on Rick Rayvon. He set him up coming off of turn 1, got to the inside, so he had that preferred line heading off to the tunnel turn, and it looked like we saw that move before, early in the race. It looked like Hollingsworth made that move, and Rick Rayvon crossed him over right after turn 2, got to the inside preferred line for turn 3, and legged it out on the long straight. But this time, Rayvon didn't get a chance to do that. It looked like he went for that crossover, but just did not have enough momentum to close them up tight enough to make anything happen out of it.
Yeah, no, that was one of those deals where you just where Hollingsworth made that move. Rayvon had to jump on the binders when he did, as Loveridge puts it around again. Finally takes the access road, spins it again. There's a lot of suspension damage on that car.
Well, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but I'm seeing a tire, in the right front, in the left front, like way high up in the air, not touching the track.
Yeah, that's the glitch that I don't think we're ever going to see fixed.
I think that maybe they did fix it, and that car saw that wall hard enough that it just kind of, it was like if you picked it up in the front, held it in the front, and held it in the back, and then twisted opposite directions.
Well, I dare say that even if he does burn his fast repair here, that car's not getting fixed.
It doesn't look like it. Nope, not at all.
Jeepers. Somebody might want to tell race control that he needs to park that thing. Nope, he knows it.
Yeah, he just let
What are
everyone
you
know.
doing, Toe? Mean ya. Anyways, 10 more years get taken off my life. We do have a new leader that's going to be bringing us to green, and that is, of course, the 97, Mr. Jeff Hollingsworth. Rocking the Newman Haas paint scheme on that car. So still waiting for an answer for tonight's trivia question. And that, of course, is each corner of Pocono is modeled after a historic speedway throughout the country. You've got one corner modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one corner modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. What now defunct track?
And we gave you the big hint, folks. New Jersey track.
Well, I could think of 4 off the top of my head that it could have been.
Right.
But anyways, what now defunct New Jersey track is Turn 1 modeled after? And again, still waiting on the first correct answer on that one. So Sam Cooper Bennett winning out on that one, getting up into the number 5 slot. So good to see good things happening for SCB.
All right, single file restart.
And Brad Mashburn, thank you for that. I will get that fixed. Whoever put that in there just oops.
What happened?
Apparently our website and Twitter links are incorrect.
I think our social media guy had to go into work tonight. But anyway, lights are off on the Ford Mustang pace car as they go over the tunnel turn. Jeff Hollingsworth has the field in tow. Rick Rayvon behind him. Rupacher behind him. Jackson Bell. And don't look now, but who's sitting in that top 5 spot? Rounding out that top 5, Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett. Now, single file restart, long track, especially one with a draft. You know, how much of a jump do you want to get out? Because you're going to get run over by the rest of this field.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to get out, more than maybe a car length. I'm actually waiting for the green to come out and then rolling into it.
Well, as that Mustang pace car takes that hard left turn, green flag comes out. Jeff Hollingsworth hits the loud pedal. Rick Rabon staying with him, but Brubacher right to his elbow as they start to work 2-3 wide, hustling it off into turn 1.
And Rabon throws it to the inside, just full send it mode, and it gets the lead away coming out of turn 1. They head down the Long Pond straightaway. Hollingsworth trying to battle back.
Hollingsworth to the inside of turn 2. Rabon looking for that crossover, not able to do it, but Jackson Bell looks like he's got that preferred line down low.
Well, where you saw Rabon go, you want to arc turn 3 as much as you can to try to carry as much speed as possible. And you saw Bell tried to cut it low, and it does not work. And he lost a ton of momentum. And that stacked up Brubacher behind him.
You can see the draft very much in evidence tonight as they keep swapping that lead back and forth. The car behind getting the run on the car in front. He gets to the point, and then the car in front gets, bogged down in that air as the car behind gets the run on him. Back and forth, hammer and tong. Rabon, Hollingsworth, Rabon. Who's it going to be at the line?
Well, coming out of the tunnel turn, another coat of paint on that wall, and Hollingsworth would have been in trouble. He was that close. But it keeps the car under him as they are 2 wide going into turn number 1, 2 wide, 3 deep. And finally get it sorted out. Bell picks up. Hang on to her. You saw what I saw.
Yeah, I saw what you saw, and that was a Code Brown moment if there ever was one.
Absolutely. Somebody needs to send a new pair of underwear to Ireland right now.
Yep. Well, I was listening to the radio, and I heard the "Hey, I'm here" kind of, but not so nicely.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where you cue up the mic, go, "Car high, bud."
Yeah.
As we got one coming out of the pits, that looks like Michael Bourne. He took an unscheduled pit stop, and we're back under caution.
That's
Bentley Glazer. Sorry, I've been waiting to use this.
No, that's a lot of damage.
He had help, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had quite a bit of help, but there was one coming slow, if I'm not mistaken.
That was Michael Bourne coming out of the pits.
Bad spot to come out of the pit.
Well,
where could you go?
Well, that's just it. It's something that everybody's got to be mindful of, is that there is no access road in turn 1 like there is in turn 3 for a car trying to get up to or get off of speed to really get that thing woed down. And that's going to end Glazer's night, because that's the second one that he's been in.
Yeah, Glazer's taking it pit side. I expect to see him put it on the hauler.
You hate to see it for anyone, but if it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have much luck at all. That's for dang sure.
And listening to race control call that, there was some people saying, were complaining, that's a bad place to join the track. Well, the race control watched that. He stayed as low as he could coming out of the pits. The field coming around should have known that.
But in their defense,
they were coming with a head of steam.
At 200 and I stopped counting, 100 mile an hour ago because I'm a wuss. Mile an hour. The relative, you're not going to see them till you're on top of them at the speed difference that they were going. So that's going to be a tank of go fast and for Mr. Feelgoods for the entire field right now, as they were 11 laps into their stint, so tires are definitely going to be screaming for replacement.
Well, there's going to be some screaming going on as Tyler Bloom decided he is going to hold it out there. He's moved himself up to the number 1 position. Now, I don't know if he did that for lap lead point. Is he going to come in the next time around? But he is holding it out there. So put him on the point. Rick Ravon leads the pack off of pit road. Jerry Brubacher, he's right behind him. Jeff Hollingsworth, Jackson Bell, followed by Mark McFadden.
Now, Tyler Bloom did come into the pits under the last caution 7 laps ago.
I'm showing him out there.
7 laps on his stint.
Yep. I'm learning this new software thing. I'm using the new timing and scoring thing that we decided to add here at ESBM.
Yeah, remind me to talk to you about a feature on there later. But anyways, so Bloom, Ravon, Broadpatcher, Hollingsworth, and Bell, your top 5. As lights should be going on the pace car this time by. As the one guy that is probably not a happy camper is Loveridge, as he wanted to stay out to try to get his lap back.
Yeah, it wasn't happening.
So,
but Tyler Bloom's going to have control of the field, but he's going to have it on older tires, and he's going to have a fast Rick Ravon, Brubacher, and Hollingsworth right behind him.
as Loveridge, kind of accepts defeat there and takes it pit side to get his pit stop done, as does Johnny Antonucci.
Now, normally on this track, when we see NASCAR on this track, NASCAR doesn't haul the mail as fast as these cars do around the track. So they can get in, get a pit stop done, and get out and not lose a lap. As fast as I've been watching these guys roll this track, I don't think that's quite the going to be the fact with that. These guys could go a lap down if they come in the pits under green.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to do it because cone to cone, pit in to pit out cone, which for these cars is actually at the end of the pit wall. You're 30.8 seconds, 29.7, I think is the fastest one I've seen. Yeah, that was Jerry Broadpatcher, 29.7 seconds cone to cone. So now the one saving grace Tyler Bloom is going to have is he's got the lap car of Michael Bourne between himself and Ravon. So that's basically going to be his saving grace. However, as I pointed out to everybody and got a couple of laughs when I said it, that paint scheme has not had the best of luck here at the Tricky Triangle.
No, it hasn't.
In both sim racing and the real world of racing. As the pace car is in, Broadpatcher waits for the green flag to come out, rolls back into it, and Michael Bourne not really on it, and that's going to let Broadpatcher get to the inside of Ravon. Full send it mode going into 3. Battle for second is on.
Ravon being kind of forced to go out. Oh, as we got, looked like Jerry Brubacher kind of got down a little too low, got his tires off into the grass, had that wiggle, lost that spot, back to 4th. Jackson Bell up to 3rd. Don't look now. Here comes Rick Ravon.
Well, Ravon's got to deal with Jackson Bell to his inside, and that's Michael Bourne getting his lap back the hard way. As coming into turn 3, they're still side by side. They haven't got this sorted out yet. And finally, Ravon gets to the back bumper of Bloom, and it's academic from here.
Yeah,
the third line going into 1.
Look at him go. If that caution comes out now, he looks like a genius.
Let's not get carried away.
Now, as I say that, there goes Bloom, followed by Ravon. followed by Bell.
Now, Bell kind of got held up a little bit as Rayvon throws it to the inside going into turn number 3, side by side. Rayvon with a head of steam, slide job coming out of the turn.
That is a lot of faith in them tires.
You think?
That was a lot of faith in them tires. He was in full send-it mode. Rick Rayvon in that section of the track just posted the fastest lap turn.
Well, that was one of those deals that you kind of you normally how was it said? Ayrton Senna, I think, put it best when he said, "I'm going to put my car here, and if we crash, that's on you."
That's considered section 2 of the track. They've got it divided into 2 sections, and section 2, my timing and storing shows me who's been the fastest and what each driver's best time around that section was. Rick Rayvon laid down a 20.7, where everyone else is at 20.9 or 21 flat. So that was called faith in them tires.
Absolutely. But you've kind of got to trust that Bloom's not going to, try to battle back ultra hard in that second lane as down the Long Pond Straight and into the tunnel turn they go side by side. Bloom just, I'll apologize to the boys from Firestone later. And Rayvon just battling back. All this battling, though, has let Jackson Bell and Yari Brupatcher, Jackson Bell anyways, Yari Brupatcher is still kind of mired in traffic, about a second and a half back from these guys.
I've watched Rayvon and Bloom swap this lead about 6 times in these past 3 laps.
Right, but the rookie Jackson Bell right there with them. Whoa. Mark McFadden had a pucker moment coming out of 1.
Big time pucker moment. Fresh underwear to the McFadden pit, please. Fresh underwear to the 48 pit. Speaking of Firestone, you all know what I do for a living, driving big trucks. And one of the places that I go to sits right next to Firestone Bridgestones. Oh! That looked like that might have hurt.
Yeah, Michael Bourne just eating the pit road wall after bouncing off the outside retaining wall after almost, he was trying to wreck Tyler Bloom. And Bloom really wasn't having any of it. And, that battle has let Rayvon and Bell kind of stretch their legs a little bit. And Bloom is now falling back into the clutches. That's Yari Brupatcher and Jeff Hollingsworth reeling him in hand over fist right now. So he's got to be careful. He might lose 3rd place as he's begging for a caution right now. He's about twice as old on tires as everybody else.
Yeah, the tire fall off is a real thing. And it looks like he was able to hang there with Rayvon and Bell through the first few laps after that last pit stop. But looks like he has just not got the performance out of those Dr. Feelgoods that he's looking for in the 4 corners of his car. And he's fallen off. And I don't know what the Angry Pack is. He's doing a great job of defensive driving.
He is. And I'll tell you who else is impressing me right now. It's Jackson Bell in the 25. As he's been hanging with Rayvon since he's been able to get up there and get towards the front.
Well, you know what? I've raced with Rick Rayvon, and let's face it, Rick Rayvon is one hell of a talented driver. He is pretty much mastered Indianapolis if you want to get down to brass tacks. He's won multiple championships across multiple leagues, and I've raced with him, I've raced against him, and I've sat, as they say, under his learning tree. And Jackson Bell right now is doing the best thing he can do when he was sitting on the back end of Rick Rayvon just watching. And that's how I learned it. I let Rick lead me around there, and then I was able to start battling with him and having a lot of fun. He's a respectful racer. He's a great racer, but Jackson Bell is getting, he's learning an awful lot right now as these middle laps are going by.
Absolutely. As they've got 10 laps on the stint right now. We're working lap 29 of 120. So just inside the 100 to go, rolling in on 90 to go. We're here pretty quick. And the one thing that I've noticed, and you'll see it here coming into turn 3, is how Rayvon's arcing that corner. Bell has been trying to cut the corner and not let the car really roll, and it's costing him. Meanwhile, that battle for third really starting to heat up as Bloom and Hollingsworth just throwing haymakers at each other right now.
Yari Brubacher, he's sitting back there watching the battle go on.
Yari Brubacher's just sitting there waiting, going, yeah, just go ahead and crash, guys.
Well, Yari's got a pretty, think about it. I'm just going to sit back here, watch these guys throw haymakers as I do not burn up my stuff, watching them burn theirs up.
Absolutely, but you kind of got to wonder, how much more does Bloom have in the tank? That fuel pickup has got to be screaming right now, as he's 19 laps on this tank of fuel.
Well, we're about to find out where the bottom of the fuel tank is, because I haven't heard him call out for a pit stop yet. Tyler Bloom just putting on a really good show. Picked up all that track position by staying out, but I don't think he was counting on a long green flag run.
No, but the one thing I have noticed with the entire Sim Racers Edge group as a whole, across the Alpha series and across the Bravo series, you need to expect a long green flag stint, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, we're looking at it right now. We're going to be wondering how long before Tyler Bloom decides to bring that thing pit side. Right now he's on the downside. He brings it pit side, he'll lose all that track position. And that conversation we were having on whether you can pit it and lose a lap or not, we're about to find out.
I think he's going to find out first. And you
it wide, not bringing her pit side.
Well, we only had one caution since the last time he was on pit road. Whoa.
That was interesting.
That was a pucker moment there, as Hollingsworth lost a ton of momentum coming out of 3, as Michael Bourne goes a lap down. That brings him to 5 laps down now. He's had quite a bit of trouble. But that battle for first between Bell and Rayvon, there's 0.3 of a second between Rayvon and Bell, and then you're another 2.5 seconds back to Bloom right now, as they're 3 wide going into 1.
Bloom, I think his tires have got to be used up. He was holding that wide, but boy, was he able to slice that low. Hollingsworth all over the track looking for some avoidance.
I don't think he thought Brubacher was still there. And that has let Bloom stay with these guys. And again, I still haven't heard Bloom, call anything out, as it looks like we're going to be hearing hell from Ireland again, as internet connection just got dropped.
Uh-oh.
And Adrian Swan, congratulations, you won tonight's trivia question.
Adrian Swan, please let us know if you are an avid iRacer, because the prize that we're going to award to you for winning that, because we didn't announce it, is going to be one customized car wrap. Your sponsor, your brand, your color design, we're going to design it. We've got guys with great coloring crayons that can put it together, give you a professional wrap for your iRacing experience on the car of your choice. Just contact us here at ESBN.
They confiscated my colored pencils when I went into the hospital.
I've got another set of colored pencils for you.
But the answer to the tonight's trivia question, 3 corners, 3 distinct, at the time when this track was built, there were 3 premier oval tracks in the country with storied histories. One, of course, being the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Milwaukee Mile, and Turn 1 was actually modeled after the now defunct Trenton Speedway.
And Tyler Bloom, the answer to your question on how far can you go on a tank of Go Fast just got answered. Tyler Bloom, bring her pit side.
I'm impressed. So 23 laps with a caution.
Well, let's call that 20 laps of hard at it racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure the production truck has updated paints right now, so we do want to apologize to all the racers who their car's not showing up exactly as they intended. So, meanwhile, Jackson Bell has reeled in Rick Ravon. Yeah, don't hit anything now. We're just going to deal with it for this week and something to be mindful of next week. But yeah, Jackson Bell is reeling in Rick Ravon.
And to answer your Tyler Bloom did go one lap down, but look who is right behind that Ravon Bell battle.
Yeah, exactly. He went a lap down, but just barely.
But he did get an undercut. Now, if Hollingsworth comes into pit, Yari comes into pit, and McFadden, if I'm not mistaken, got around him as well. He comes into pit. You're going to be looking at that was an undercut.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen here as you know, I'm watching the lap times, and this is going to be his first full tilt flyer since coming out of the pits. So I'm kind of watching to see what kind of lap time he can pick up and lay down this time. Because everybody else is 21 laps into their fuel run. So
23 seemed to be the number.
42 flat. So 42 flat with no drafting help. Meanwhile, this battle for first rages on as Bell may have backed off a little bit early on to kind of save his tires a little bit. Still dealing with the dirty air, and you can see that car wiggle badly when he gets near Ravon, especially coming out of 3. So the aero push is definitely real tonight.
Aero push is a thing, especially in these cars. Now, when you hear us using those terms, push and loose, that is whether a car is tight or loose. It's pushing. You hear them, it's pushing, it's tight, it's pushing. That's when you bring that car to the corner at speed. You turn the steering wheel saying, hey, car, I want you to go to left. And the car's saying, nah, I think I'm just going to keep going straight. You give it a little more steering wheel. Say, no, I want you to go left. Car says, no, you can turn all you want. I'm going to keep going straight. When that happens, hello outside wall. That's called tight or pushing.
Well, I think Richard Petty put it best. Was it Mario Andretti? One of those two greats. That tight is when you hit the wall with the front of the car. Loose is when you hit the outside wall with the back of the car. Horsepower is how fast you hit the wall, and torque decides how far you take the wall with you when you hit it.
Yep.
And we are seeing green flag pit stops happen as McFadden into the pits.
Ravon into the pits.
Ravon brings it in. Jackson Bell right on his hip in lockstep. Looks like...
We're going to see what kind of undercut Tyler got on his pit stop when he had to pit early because he was in that off cycle.
Well, Broadpatcher stays out. And looks like we're just waiting on Johnny Antonucci. He's pit side now as well. So Broadpatcher, the only one willing to gamble on fuel mileage.
Ravon beating Bell out of the pits, not by much, but he does get the advantage out. He was the first in, first out. They come in and out pretty much the same distance apart in the same order they went in.
We're just waiting to see what type of positions Tyler Bloom's going to make up. Doesn't look like he lost spots. I'm currently showing him in 7th when this all shakes out, as Broadpatcher brings it pit side finally. And Jackson Bell able to get up to speed a little bit quicker than Rayvon. He might be a little quicker on the very fresh tires, but now the student leading the master as put those two back into the point as Rayvon full send it mode going into 1 again.
Well, Tyler Bloom is running about 10.5 seconds off of the leaders. So that didn't quite pay off. Maybe he got held up in some traffic. Don't know. But as it cycles out right now, Jackson Bell and Rick Rayvon are slugging it out for the lead. I can't call who's in the front, who's in the back, because these guys, whoever's in the lead pair has been just swapping them several times a lap. Hollingsworth running in 3rd, followed by Yari. Mark McFadden, he's battling with Yari. Looks like McFadden's bringing her pit side, so that's going to move Tyler up to the 5th position, and that puts him 10.5 seconds, 11 seconds off the lead.
That was Ron Holyfield going pit side, bud.
Oh, was it? Yes, it was.
But, Rayvon and Bell, 3.5 seconds to the good over 3rd place Jeff Hollingsworth, who's another 2 seconds up the road from Broadpatcher, who's 5.5 seconds over Tyler Bloom in 5th. So this field more strung out than a methadone clinic. Closest battle on track right now is between Tyler Bloom and Mark McFadden, as there's about a 3-car length lead of Bloom over McFadden right now, as McFadden full send it mode, not close enough to really make it happen. Bloom gives him a wide berth, though, going into 1.
Working lap 46 of 120. Kind of clicking off. I was thinking it's Pocono. It's the Iron 12 car. I was thinking we were going to be here all night with caution after caution, but this has turned into actually some good racing at different points on the track. Well, if you get down to it, my closest battle I can see right now is your lead 2 that have been swapping back and forth several times a lap. Interesting how this is, one's got the advantage in the draft, the other one doesn't, and then they swap it back, and you got to be wondering, okay, how much information's going into the cranial brain pan of where do you want to be coming off of that final turn on that final lap?
Well, I think right there, Jackson Bell just figured out his timing to make that winning pass happen. You saw where he put the car and when he put the car, and that's something you've got to file away for later. It's like, okay, I need to make my move here, and this is how I need to do it. The only problem is, if you figure it out, the guy you're battling is going to figure out, okay, he's coming here. I'm going to throw a block. I'm going to put my car in this location, and if we crash, it's on you.
And it's all going to be set up. That final pass for this race win, I think, is going to be set up going into turn 1. What position do you put yourself in turn 1, and where do you put yourself on the track in relation to that other car? And the other guy, he's playing that same chess game as well of where do I got to be and when do I got to be there. And it's, now you're getting all this information, but when you come down to the final laps of the race, say you're in the final 2 laps, your adrenaline's going to go up if you're the lead pair still swapping like these guys are. And you got to, wonder, are they going to be able to actually have the mental discipline to remember what the hell they just learned, 50 laps ago?
I can answer for the driver of the 7 only because, like yourself, I've raced with him for so long, and I've called races with him on the track for so long. I can promise you he does as they start to do the Indy Snake, which... all that does, in my opinion, is just burn up tires. But, you've got the mental discipline of a fellow truck driver in that Gould Charge number 7, the Rick Mears tribute car that I actually lended a hand in painting. So yes, for one. The other one, I don't know yet. So, but they are now 4.5 seconds up the road, almost the entire length of the front straightaway over Jeff Hollingsworth.
Yeah, normally when you get a battle going back and forth like that, third place is loving it because he's, just knows that they're just wasting time. A lot, them battling usually slows them down. These two battling looks like it sped them up.
It has, and it's, again, the rest of the field is just very strung out. You're 4.5 seconds back to Jeff Hollingsworth in third. You're 2 seconds back to Yari Brubhatcher. You're 6.25 seconds back to Tyler Bloom. Mark McFadden is another half second back from him. Then you're another second back to Carl Burke. 10.5 seconds back to Johnny Antonucci in 8th. 9th is James Langvin. Hey, I said it right.
James Langdon, he is the last car on the lead lap. 33 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, and then you're 30. No, you're right. The last car on the lead lap, Langman. And then you're 32 seconds back to Ron Holyfield, the first car a lap down, who's 40 seconds up the road to Leonard Elijah, and then he's a lap ahead of Shane Loveridge. So this field very strung out right now, except for this lead battle. So in case you're wondering, folks, why we're not talking about much else, that's why.
And something else I got to be wondering too. These guys have been swapping the lead back and forth. And I'm talking about Jackson Bell and Rick Rabon. I'm wondering, knowing the fuel consumption on these IRO 12 cars, why doesn't Jackson just be content to ride in the slipstream behind Rick Rabon and not force Rabon to use more fuel?
Because it's the racer in him that it's kind of the husky mentality of, if you're not the lead dog, the view never changes. And to answer the question asked in our YouTube chat, Miss Sally Hammond, I was not aware that the driver of the 48 was has been around for 7 decades.
Now I don't feel so old.
God bless you. So, as my broadcast partner's better half makes an appearance. Good evening to you, Miss Tammy.
He had a small emergency with a small dog that's going to have a talking to here post-race.
That dumb dog still jumping off the porch?
No, that dumb dog come up in here and try to do something close to my computer that we're not going to talk about.
Okay, then. And for those of you wondering why I asked this, Byron has a small yappy ankle biter that decided that it was going to jump over the railing of his front porch. The only problem is it's about a 13-foot drop to the grass.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any snow on the ground when the dog did it.
You know what? He hadn't tried that move since.
So you can teach a dumb dog new tricks.
Yes, you can. Tyler Bloom calling for another pit stop. Don't know how long he's been out on this stint, but he is bringing her pit side this time around.
19.
So 19 under anger without a caution. Now we're going to see, where they're going to sit in. So now going back to the leader, how long's the leader been out there?
14.
14. So we're another 5 laps. We're going to be seeing the wholesale green flag pit stops once again as we're working lap 57 of 120, 3 laps away from the halfway point. Cross flags will be going in the air, and this race will be official. As keep watching that Indy Snake, and I got to agree with you, tire burner.
That's all it really does. Because of the way the drafting model is set up in iRacing, well, as you well know, and being as you run a lot of full fender tin top stuff, you know as well as I do, in the real world, at a place like Talladega or Daytona, if you were to take it 3 wide, they call the center line the sucker hole. And the reason why they call it that is because there's no airflow getting to your carburetor at that point. Now they're running fuel injection, but I digress.
Well, if you're running an Xfinity car or a truck, you're still carbureted.
But anyways, in the real world, they call it the sucker hole for a reason. In iRacing, going up through the center is the move.
I've made that move God knows how many times.
Yeah, screaming my hill, and then a young driver from Louisiana decides that he's just gonna, right turn Clyde, and oops, didn't see you coming.
Hey, I beat that driver at Daytona 4 times in a row while we were in the simulators at the Hall of Fame. Hope you're listening, Ronnie.
Anyways, Rick Raymond's starting to stretch his legs right now as he's opened up a 1.2 second lead over second place Jackson Bell. I'm thinking Bell may have gone too hard too soon as we are under caution. Yari Brupatcher eating hot garbage. Looks like the tunnel turn bites another one. Yeah, he caught the transition going in all wrong, went over that bump, and the back end just washed right out on him.
Gotta wonder how much of that was worn tires, and just, he was in a whole different spot of the track as well.
Well, if you saw where he went into turn 2, he caught the worst part of the bump. I'm thinking the car may have just bottomed out on him.
Tyler Bloom had just made his green flag stop, got it back out there, first car, 1 lap down. Everyone else has got to come in and pit. Going to put him back on the same pit cycle as everyone else, because I doubt he got but maybe 1 lap under anger
3
before that caution came.
3 laps since pitting.
Tyler Bloom's going to take. He's going to cycle all the way back around. Don't know what the single file restart is. That going to put him back up in the lead or no?
No, it's not. It's gonna give him the wave around because he's currently being scored a lap down. Oh no, actually, no. He's yeah. He'll be the last car in the lead lap because he will get waved around. Everybody else has got to come pit side.
As everyone else does.
So it doesn't look like anybody's going to try to play hero this time. And there's a lucky dog? So that means Ron Holyfield has the possibility. No, he doesn't. He went into a closed pit. That's Shane Loveridge that is trapped behind the pace car right now, 2 laps down. But yeah, free pass for Bloom. That's going to put him at the tail end of the field. But he has the
Yeah,
opportunity,
Here he comes, opportunity to pit. Yep.
and you'd be crazy not to. It's a free pit stop. So
Patience paid off. You know, he stuck with it. He is back here in this game.
absolutely, and I'll tell you, one of the guys that was begging for that caution to come out has got to be Jeff Hollingsworth. He was almost 5 seconds back, or over 5 seconds back, when that caution came out. He now has the opportunity, with no lap cars between him and Jackson Bell, to try to make something happen here on this restart.
Well, we're going to re-rack him, stack him, pack him, and try it again. Fire him back off in anger. As we are, if I'm not mistaken, 2 laps past the halfway point now.
You would be correct, sir. So the caution came out at the halfway point. And it looks like Shane Leverage is not going to try to take the wave around here. So that's going to put Ravon right behind the pace car as the lights get ready to go out. Jackson Bell going to be starting right on his transmission tunnel. Jeff Hollingsworth going to hope to get a better start.
And how about that number 13 car, Johnny Antonucci? Quietly under the radar, haven't called his name very much this race. Right there, in the mix, running in that 5th position.
Well, there's a reason why I call Johnny an iRacing ninja, because it's one of those deals where you don't hear anything weird happening, and all of a sudden you're going, wow, where'd he come from?
Quietly under the radar, worked his way right into this broadcast. Johnny Antonucci. Raced with him and raced against him many times. Great iRacer. Glad to see him out here.
Absolutely. But Brabhatcher able to keep it on the lead lap as he's tagging on to the tail end of the field. Tyler Bloom going to have to drop back to the tail end as the field works its way through the tunnel turn. And depending on which camera view we're using, you can kind of see where the tunnel is and where that transition would be, and why it's so, what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Interesting.
Fear-inducing?
Yeah.
I think would be the best way to put it. So Ravon, Bell, Hollingsworth, McFadden, Antonucci, your top 5 as the pace car makes that hard left turn onto pit road. Ravon waits for the green flag to come out, rolls into the throttle a little bit early, gets a little bit of separation between Jackson Bell and himself. And I'm thinking Ravon might be a sitting duck by the time they get to the end of the Long Pond straightaway.
Well, what I'm thinking is, we saw once Ravon got himself a little bit of a lead without anyone in his draft, he was able to leg it out. But these guys are a little too close to him, caught that slipstream, and don't look now, but Jackson Bell's right there with him again.
And at the end of the Long Pond straightaway, who's in the lead? There you go. Remember what we were saying about a sitting duck? Well, Ravon gets the undercut going into 3, and then full send-it mode going into 3, as Bell battles back down the front straightaway here. Now, a little-known fact, the NHRA, when this track first opened, did in fact hold championship drag racing on the front straightaway here at Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
Well, it is long enough. I can understand that because, shoot, we can probably land a fairly decent-sized jet airplane on that little bit of racetrack there.
Hey, you're not wrong.
Don't look now. Hollingsworth decided to make this a 3-man dance for the top spot. Ravon, Bell, and Hollingsworth all out there. And don't make that the top 5 have decided they're going to stay there. And here comes the Indy Snake down the Pocono long stretch.
Unreal. Tyler Bloom, though, up into 5th, as he was able to get by Johnny Antonucci. as I'm thinking that's a lap car. Yeah, Leonard Elijah in that Miller High Life red and white ride at the tail end of this little lead pack here. But Mark McFadden hanging with these guys as the battle for second really heating up. Hollingsworth on the high side, Bell on the inside. Bell finally has to just give it up going into one so they can get a good entry and not try to burn these tires up. Now, this is the part of the race where Hollingsworth usually starts to come on strong. He's figured out what he needs to do to try to conserve tires by this point in the race. He knows what he needs to do for fuel stops, and he also knows where his underwear drawer is in his hauler.
Yeah.
Another coat of paint, he definitely would have been in trouble there coming out of the tunnel turn.
You know, you can't accuse him of being a conservative driver. You know, when he wants to go after something, he knows exactly where that razor's edge is to push that car to, and he will push it to the limit as Hollingsworth puts her on the point.
Hollingsworth to the point as he's got Rayvon in the slipstreams. Rayvon goes to the inside, going down at the Long Pond straightaway. Into the tunnel turn they go, 2 by 2. Hollingsworth's got to just let him go.
Rayvon's got turn 2 figured out cold on this track. You have to admit that.
Absolutely, as these guys are trying to get turn 3 figured out, trying to figure out their runs, trying to figure out when they need to make the run.
Now, what kind of class do you think Jackson Bell's getting taught right now, watching these two swap back and forth like he was doing earlier with Rayvon?
Well, that's a master's level class right there between Hollingsworth and Rayvon. You got two of the best in any form of iRacing, showing the way right now to the guy with the rookie class license.
Johnny Antonucci, was in that 5th position, slipped back to 6th, falling into the clutches of Yari. Yari's got him right dead in his sights. Looks like Yari wants that 6th position. Antonucci doing his best thing to put on a defensive driving school.
Well, here's something that I'm kind of wondering, and that is because I know in the new IndyCar or newest IndyCar, you're allowed to play with the weight jacker and the sway bars. Are you allowed to do that in this car?
You know what? That's a question to ask the technical gurus.
Well,
we shall have to ask post-race, but back at the front of the field, Hollingsworth back out in front, Rayvon and Bell. They've legged it out. And those three right there, you can throw a blanket over them, and you got to go back another 1.5 seconds to find Mark McFadden in the 4th spot, and another almost 2 seconds back to Tyler Bloom.
Yeah, this field's starting to get a little strung out here, except for that battle for, the top 3 spots. Everybody else really, getting some separation, kind of finding their place to hide, as I like to call it, where you're just riding at this point. You're not putting your car in danger of making contact with anybody. If you do happen to step on your own junk, as it's been referred to, you're not going to take anybody with you. And it can be good to see, but sometimes it does stink to show up a little bit.
Now, you see these guys swapping on that long front stretch. Rayvon, he came out of turn 3 in the lead. Hollingsworth, he's out in front, but you need to pay attention to where that start-finish line is. It's not that far off of the corner exit of turn 3. Where do you need to be? You're going to lose that lead on the front straight, but you had it crossing the line. So these guys have also got to be paying attention to what's going to work for them to get them to that line, because it is not that far down the track.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to figure out when to time your run. And you have to have the pass made before the exit of 3.
Tyler Byrne back to the pits.
I'm thinking Bloom hit something, because it doesn't make any sense for him to come in this early. But it's top three right now. Currently 2.5 seconds to the good over fourth place, Mark McFadden, who
We're in
is
lap 73. Do the math. How many laps could you get on a tank of Go Fast?
23.
23. So you come in, you pit on 73, you run 23, there you are at 96. That leaves you 24 laps to the end of the race. I think there's a little bit of fuel strategy going on with Mr. Bloom. But, no, I think you're right. He's preparing some damage. He is on an extended pit stop.
Either that or it was a...
Or a penalty for speeding on pit entry.
No, he would have had to serve it well before now. I'm thinking he had a Tony Stewart moment.
Well, he...
Did we lose Byron? Sounds like it. Meanwhile, Jackson Bell has gotten by Hollingsworth.
Hello. Am I back?
Hey, you're back.
Well, I kind of lagged on my net there. We've been having internet issues here in the Ohio River Valley, right next to West Virginia. I think they're sucking off our internet through a cable across the river.
There's so many jokes I could make right now, but I'm not going to.
I know.
Because I used to live in that town.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, I don't have to be because I don't live with those people anymore.
Yeah, but I do, so I'm being nice.
Anyways.
Oh, back at the front of the pack, Rayvon and Bell's gotten around Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth looks like he's starting to fade just a little bit. Don't know if that's from all the battling earlier or if he's just settling in, starting to think strategy. Okay, how far do I need to go? If I'm not mistaken, I just heard Yari call for pitting in. Shane Loveridge, he's got damage. He's going to be coming in.
I'm thinking that might be why Brawpatcher just called for a pit, because I think those two were near each other when that happened. As Brawpatcher brings it pit side. Now, the thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he already burn his quick repair?
Good question. Do not know.
Let's find out. So, field's starting to get strung out again as about 6 car lengths between Rayvon and Bell. Another 4 or 5 back to Jeff Hollingsworth. Mark McFadden, 4 seconds back, 6 seconds back to Johnny Antonucci. 4.7 seconds back to James Langvin. Yuri Brawpatcher just came pit side, and
Tyler Bloom just calling out he's going to have to bring her pit side and park it.
That means he hit something and it didn't fix it. So,
heartbreak of a night for Tyler. We've seen some interesting strategy. Hung with it, got back to the lead lap, fell back off the lead lap, and is back in the pits and looks like he's going to put her on the hauler.
well, the biggest problem with these cars is it might look to the naked eye like it fixed everything, but and Byron, you've driven this car enough, I've driven this car enough to know that if you hit the wall just right, it won't show damage,
but it'll drive like it's got the damage.
And Jackson Bell just went pit side.
I think Jackson Bell's bringing her in pit side because that's going to be a fuel strategy. One more stop would be the money stop, and he can make it to the end. I think we're seeing the beginning of green flag stops.
We're going to see here as field working lap 80 of 120. You're right. This would be the place to do it. And still have a few laps in reserve. I think Yari Brupatcher brought it in a little too soon. Could still do it on one stop, but it's going to make things a little more difficult. So that moves Hollingsworth up into second, McFadden up into third. The only problem is there's almost 2 seconds between Ravon and Hollingsworth, and then McFadden is another 5 seconds back. So talk about stinking up the show.
Yeah, I'm looking at my timing and scoring, and I love this new software because it will show the gap times in red when they're close, when they're battling. It'll show them in a lighter shade of red, as they approach, say, 0.2 of a second apart. It'll show yellow when they get, 0.5 of a second apart. And right now I am seeing nothing but green across the board, which means greater than 2 seconds interval between every car.
I'm showing the closest battle on track is Hollingsworth.
Whoa!
What just happened to Ravon?
I gotta go back and look at that.
What the heck just happened there?
Just got it all wrong coming off the tunnel turn. Decides to go four-wheeling.
That was turn one.
How in the hell he held that straight? I got no clue. But he is back on the track, and he's only a 3-second deficit to our new leader, Jeff Hollingsworth.
Well, I'm thinking that might answer the question that we were talking about earlier about can you play with the track bar on this car? And from the looks of it, you can. And
yeah, and watching our leader, Jeff Hollingsworth, I'm thinking he's going to be wanting to bring her pit side because he was awful wiggly going across that tunnel turn.
Yeah, safe bet. Doesn't look like nope, not going to do it this time.
And here comes Ravon into the pits. Gets her woed down, locks him up hard on the binders at pit entry. If Rick's got a fast repair in his back pocket, I'll bet you he's using it right now.
That's if he doesn't get popped for speeding. Nope, didn't. Okay. That was oh so close, too.
Yeah, it was. You saw the smoke on them tires on pit entry.
Well, I went back and looked, and
Hollingsworth brings her in. So now everyone's making the move to cover the pit stops that Jackson Bell made and Rick Ravon made. And that hands the lead of the race over to Mark McFadden.
And McFadden is still picking him up and laying him down. Got to give him credit for it. Driving a nice, clean line.
No one out there to bother him, just hit his marks and just,
He's coming pit side this time.
Here he comes pit side. So green flag pit stops are in order right now.
As that's going to give us 7 cars left on the lead lap. And it looks like Jackson Bell 6 seconds to the good.
Start-finish line. That's going to hand the lead over to Bell with a 6-second gap over Hollingsworth with another 7 seconds back to third place, Ravon. Undercut worked huge.
Now, for those of you wondering what we're talking about when we say undercut, there's a certain part of the tire that we jokingly refer to as the goodie, and it's where the tire has its most grip. It lasts for, depending on the tire, depending on the series, depending on the car, anywhere between 2 to maybe 6 laps. where you can really pick them up and lay them down. After that, you're still driving on rubber, but the tire doesn't perform the same as it did. And the longer you run on the tire, the more you realize this tire is not performing the same way that it did. And if you pit early, for example, like what Jackson Bell did, where we were wondering, like, wow, why is he coming in that early? I'll tell you why. You know, if you get a 5-lap earlier pit stop, he's already been into the good rubber. Whereas Hollingsworth did, 5 laps on crappy rubber and lost 6 seconds.
Well, give you an idea. Yari, in the 89 machine, he came in back on lap 76, was his last pit stop. His last lap time out on the track right now was 42.45. Now, you take Jackson Bell. He came in on lap 79. He's on 3-lap newer tires. His last lap was a 42.14. So he's 0.3 of a second quicker.
Now take a look at Rayvon.
Huh?
And then take a look at Rayvon's last lap.
Yep. Rayvon's last lap was a 42.0. So, and he's got the newest tires of the bunch.
But his lap before that was a 41.7.
Right. So he's got fresher rubber. He's got more of what you call the goodie. He can hustle it around there in that corner a little more aggressively and take a little shorter way around a little faster and still hold it. Remember when he made that move and I said earlier in the race, man, that's a lot of faith in them tires. Well, now he's got a lot of faith in them tires because they're fresh.
Absolutely. And you take a look at the difference between Jackson Bell and Jeff Hollingsworth right now is Hollingsworth kind of holding his own against Rayvon. Rayvon not really gaining a ton, but he's not losing it.
Rayvon is closing in on him only 0.7 seconds back. When we started this conversation, when they were first, second, third after their pit stops, we were looking at 6 seconds in between each of those top 3. Rayvon's clamped it down to 0.7 of a second.
But Hollingsworth is maintained at about 6.5 seconds, which is almost the entire length of the front straightaway. As they start the Indy Snake, Hollingsworth trying to break the draft that Rayvon's got.
I'm showing that gap coming down, but ever so slowly, but it's just not, I don't know, Rayvon looks like he can run him down, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to run him down. So we're working lap 91. We are under, or we're at what, 30 laps to go?
Yeah. About halfway through this fuel stint, and then comes the money stop. And I'd like to point out that we've had, 3 green flag pit stops tonight?
Yeah. Now we're getting to what we call the money stop. You hear us keep saying money stop, money stop. Let's give you a rundown of what the money stop is. That's the last pit stop you're going to make on this track, whether it be under caution or whether it be under green flag. It's the last pit stop. Now, we're calling it the money stop because we're assuming it's going to stay green until they need to pit for tires and fuel again. And another reason we call it the money stop is you need to be money on perfect. You've got to bring that car in as fast as you can to pit lane, get down to pit speed as quick as you can without speeding on pit entry and getting a penalty, which is you got to sit there for 30-second penalty in your pit on top of your pit service. Then that kills your race. So you got to hit your marks perfect. You got to get into your pit box without shorting where you got to pull forward a little bit more or coming in too fast, hitting the brakes too late and sliding through it to where you got to back up. That costs you valuable time. Time is real estate on this track. And you got to get off without speeding all the way out to that timing line and then get on it without spinning it on cold tires and working those corners on cold tires and cold brakes, getting it up to pressure and temperature. to do that all perfectly, knowing it's the last one, knowing you got to do it perfect, and your race is on the line with it. That's why we call it the money stop. Pressure's high, mistakes will cost you big time.
And in the real world of motorsport, it's where the pit crew earns their money.
Yep, races. How many times have you seen a race won or lost on the pit stop?
Too many.
Don't look now, but Ravon has gotten around Hollingsworth, and he's starting to put a bit of a gap to him. 0.3 of a second out now, and just a matter of, does he have enough time to track down Jackson Bell? 6.2 seconds deficit from Ravon to Bell.
Well, the previous lap, he had a 0.4 gap. Now he's got a 0.2 pickup. So he's got time. But you also have to keep in mind, Bell is going to be probably coming in right around lap 100.
Bell's last pit stop was on lap 79. So, yeah, right around 100. The next 5 laps, Bell's got to bring it in if he wants to make the distance. And he's going to be under that pressure. He's got to hit his marks just right. He slides through that pit stop, and it cost him an extra 2 or 3 seconds. He's only got a 5.7 second gap right now. If he loses 2 or 3 seconds in the pits, that's 2 or 3 seconds on the track.
It's more than that, because you figure you've got to do a pit in. You've got to slow the car down to get to the line. You've got to then make sure you're on the pit road speed limiter in this car. Oh! Luckily he didn't hit anything.
No, keeps her, after spinning round and round and round, gets it pointed straight. Caution does not come out.
But Ravon does.
Yep, and Hollingsworth is right there as well. Okay, Ravon did one. Now Bell did one. Bell's got to be, he's got to be hating life. He was wanting to push it as hard as he could to get to that pit stop. He's working lap 97, and he knows he's got to keep it on that track probably for another 3 laps before he can bring a pit side to repair anything that may have happened to that car, get some fresh tires and a tank of fuel to run it to the end. And now the money stop is all that much more important because he is now down to a 1.5 second gap behind the leader, Rick Ravon.
And the thing is, too, just be glad it's not the newest Indy car, because this particular car doesn't have the tire model that allows flat spots. Because
you are right, yes.
that would really hurt his night. Is Yuri Broadpatcher calling pits? He was the first one to go pit side last time. He's going to be the first one to go pit side this time. 21 laps into his stint.
Last in on lap 76, bringing it in on lap 98.
He's going to have to go splash and go or go fuel conservation mode. Because I don't think Broadpatcher can make it from here.
Well, he's going to have to put on 22 laps under fire, maybe hope for a caution where he can conserve some fuel and think of staying out. But he's the first one to flinch. He had to because he was the last one to pit, lap 76. So the next one by my schedule that's going to need to come in and pit is going to be, that's on the lead lap, will be Jackson Bell because he last pit at lap 79. And he is now working his 20th lap out on the track. Maybe got one more lap in it, bring it pit side, get those tires and fuel and go.
He had a bad wiggle coming out of 3, too. Lost a ton of momentum to Hollingsworth, as Hollingsworth doing everything he can to just try to keep pace with Ravon. So, I haven't heard any radio chatter from Bell yet.
No, neither have I.
So, he's probably going to try to leg this out as far as he can.
Thinking maybe we might have an overtime, and he's accounting.
There it is.
No, he is bringing her pit side right now. Jackson Bell pits.
So Bell brings it pit side on lap 100, just crosses for 101 right there. So money stop time has started. Broadpatcher already made his money stop, just barely able to stay on the lead lap.
Pit stop for Jackson Bell, 8.08 seconds. A total of pit lane time, 33.23. Back out on the track.
You're looking at the previous pit stop, bud. That was a 7.7 in his box, 29.6 cone to cone.
Yeah, our timing gives us different results then.
As Hollingsworth in right now. That's going to hand second place over to Mark McFadden, who's 13 seconds back from Rick Ravon. I'll say that again, 13 seconds. 7.9 in the box for Hollingsworth. He's down and away. Ravon in.
Well, your timing and scoring, I can tell you, measures it a little different than mine. Or it's picking up its marks a little different. But Ravon in his pits, let's see what he can, coming to his pit.
That's Hollingsworth right in front of Bell. As Bell already on the warm tires, Hollingsworth on colds. And makes it look that easy coming through 3. Indy Snake time.
Ravon was a second longer. His overall pit from cone to cone was about a second longer than Bell.
And there he is.
This is going to be interesting.
This going to get good. As Johnny Antonucci stays out, gets a lap led. So New Jersey representing tonight.
Antonucci can possibly take it 2 more laps if he wants. His last pit was lap 84.
Yeah, I'm showing 18 laps on his last stint as this battle for the essential race lead. Hollingsworth flirting with disaster, coming off a 3, almost gets into the wall.
As these guys are still doing that Indy Snake back there. Now we're going to have the slugfest all the way to the end here. Working lap 104. We are under 20 to go here at Pocono. As it's going to be a snake fest. Oh! Hollingsworth in that snake puts those left side tires down on the grass, kicks up the dirt. Don't want to snake it too much.
Hollingsworth Lawn Service. Can I help you? Good grief.
Oh, we're calling for tear-offs for Ravon right now. Man, Hollingsworth just washes it right to the wall, gives Ravon, he dives it right under, takes that top spot. Hollingsworth right on his tail. And Jackson Bell watching the battle in front of him, got to be wondering, okay, I planned on how to handle one guy in front of me. What do I got to do to beat 2 guys in front of me?
Not wreck. Full send it mode going into the tunnel turn side by side with Hollingsworth as they're in Ravon's slipstream. Hollingsworth has the better advantage, and Jackson Bell going to have to relegate back to 3rd again. Hollingsworth to the inside of Ravon coming through 3. Ravon just lets that car float, carries so much more momentum. That's going to let him step away just a little bit. Hollingsworth, though, with
just a little bit, it gets him to that start-finish line first. But it gives him, it gives Hollingsworth such access to that slipstream heading off into turn 1, and lets Hollingsworth set him up for the move on turn 2. But doesn't look like it's going to happen this time, as they keep it nice and neat and straight. Well, here comes the move.
Well, we said you had to have the move complete by the time you get to the exit of 3, and Hollingsworth just full slide job on Ravon. Ravon's got to check on the binders just a little bit. That's going to let Bell get by him, too, as they head it down the front straightaway here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, that was some faith in them tires on Jeff Hollingsworth's part.
There's also some faith in Rick Ravon. That was one of those moves that Ravon's notorious for as well. I'm going to put my car here. If we crash, it's on you.
Yeah. hoping his spotter's saying, car high, car high.
So Bell and Ravon in lockstep right now.
Bell taking a short route around the turn. Ravon taking the high side with that momentum. Showing more faith in them tires.
Well, that strip of darker pavement in turn 3. Now, mind you, this is before the last repave. That strip of darker pavement in turn 3 is actually the preferred line through that corner. Because you can let the car kind of float.
13 to go. And we got a slugfest for first. What's your over-under on a caution-free finish here with these guys, the way they're driving, looking for that lead?
100-to-1 odds. I don't see this going caution-free. I really don't.
Don't look now, but Shane Loveridge is right there in front of him. He looks like, yeah, he's saying that I'm going to stay on one part of the track. You guys go around the other part of the track. That's called being a gentleman, knowing the lead lap. Cars are in a three-way dance for the top spot.
Gets on corner exit, jumps on the binders, actually slows down to make sure they cleared him.
You know what? And that just goes to the point, and that's why I love this league, because it is a bunch of class guys. He could have, he's one lap down. He had every right to fight for his spot to not go a lap down if a caution would have come out. But, James, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to be that, quote-unquote, that guy.
Loveridge is 6 laps down, bud.
Oh, sorry. I just now noticed that on my deal.
But, still, being 6 laps down, he still could have been a douche nozzle, as it can sometimes be referred to as. Or southbound end of a northbound horse.
Something like.
But Ravon, with that clean air now, starting to stretch his legs. And now, mind you, these guys by now have worn all the goodie off their tires.
Now it's going to be who can hold a pretty wheel to get the best fast lap times. And don't forget, we saw Ravon go for a ride. We saw Jackson Bell go for a spin when those tires got really wore out and they were trying to push just a little too hard off of that tunnel turn.
Well, Bell lost it off at 3, caught too much of the rumble strip, and Ravon lost it in 1. So, and we saw Hollingsworth earlier in the race.
He was real wiggly off of 3.
Yeah. No, there's 2 for Hollingsworth.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm running out of fingers over here.
There's 3 corners on the track, Ronnie. Anyways, Ravon over a second to the good right now.
Go to a race with him driving and hold that sign up, and he'll see that sign as he comes around. Yeah,
because there's going to be 3 of us holding it. Well, there's going to be 3 of us holding the sign on the exit of turn 3. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they used to have a sign, if they don't have it there anymore, that says what turn 4. We'll just make a big banner. You, me, and KP will hold it up and sit in turn 3 and call it the turn 4 gang.
Yep.
And hold it at just the right angle that Osmer will see that sign.
Exactly right. And we are the bunch that is talented enough to find the 4th corner in the tricky triangle.
Well, you're talking about a guy that the last time I raced here in a car in iRacing, I bounced it off the turn 4 wall. The turn 3 wall. Bounced it off the turn 3, exited turn 3, caught the seam in the safer barrier, and at that time, this car was so messed up, it launched the car at about 2,000 miles an hour. I skipped it off the timing tower and put it into the turn 1 parking lot.
I remember that. You had a
That was-
replay of that.
That was in that league that shall not be named.
Yeah. Turning on the engine backtrack side, Rick Ravon has legged it out. He's got a 1.2 second lead over your second place driver, Jackson Bell. Jeff Hollingsworth just tickling that 9/10, 1 second behind third place, or for third place. And Yari, you got to go 10 seconds more back to find Yari back there in fourth. Rounding out your top five, Mark McFadden.
As there are going to be 5 laps to go this coming time across the stripe, unless we see that dreaded colored flag that we don't want to see. I'm thinking this is your podium. So, Ravon 1.3 to the good, 0.9 back to Hollingsworth, 10 seconds back to Brawpatcher, 4.5 seconds back to McFadden, 21 seconds back to Antonucci, and James Langvin. Antonucci, the last car on the lead lap in 6th.
Oh,
Langdon-
Hollingsworth with a bit of a connection issue.
Oh,
Disappeared
no.
For a while, reappeared behind Jackson Bell. Langevin, that would be the name for our 7th place driver in the 17 machine.
That we've been butchering all night.
Yeah, we've been butchering. He's going to kick us in the ding-ding, man. You know, and them Canucks can get pretty damn ornery. You ever watch a good hockey game?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I saw a shitty one earlier.
Yeah, and I know how.
Did I say that out loud?
Canucks can get. My mom's one.
Yeah, my Sabres had a good start to the season, and injuries have just been they've. Yeah, no.
Well, Rick Ravon just, instead of going to 6th gear, he found cruise control and is just holding it right there. Jackson Bell, unless
He
Ravon
still set the
goes
quick
on
lap
jump-
last time by.
Huh?
He was still quick lap last time by.
Yeah.
If that's cruising, I'd hate to see what he's doing when he's hustling the car. Mean ya.
Well, unless he steps on his own junk, I think you're right. Looking at the podium, except for Hollingsworth with that connection issue, dropped him back to 3rd.
I'm thinking as soon as Hollingsworth's connection started to drop, he realized it quickly and moved over, slowed down, and then got back into it. As we got popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go. Ravon with a 2-second lead right now.
Bring us
Jack-
home.
Jackson Bell still has his rearview mirrors filled with Jeff Hollingsworth, as that is your closest battle on track right now. Hollingsworth doing everything he can to try to reel the rookie in. And he's got the slipstream, he's got the move, and full send it mode going into 3. Hollingsworth going to let the car run coming off. Tries to throw the block. White flag in the air. Ravon still with the lead. Bell battles back as they're side by side going into turn number 1. That's Bell on the inside, Hollingsworth on the high side. Hollingsworth's got 2 corners to get it done. Big wiggle out of Bell, though. That's going to kill a ton of momentum as they head it down the Long Pond straightaway going into the tricky tunnel turn. And Bell might have the advantage here. Takes the low side. It's academic for Rick Ravon as he brings it across the stripe. Ravon going to be the victor. Hollingsworth just barely able to hang on for second. Bell coming home in 3rd. Brawpatcher still waiting for him to make his exit out of 3. There he comes. Mark McFadden rounding out your top 5. Johnny Antonucci crosses the line for 6th.
That was a damn good race and a damn good finish there between Hollingsworth and Bell. But kudos to Raymond, man, able to recover. You know, he started up his own lawn and landscaping service there and was able to recover and bring her back to the front.
Absolutely. Great race all throughout the field. A lot of these guys haven't raced with this series before. They haven't raced together before. There's a lot of new names that we don't see in the Alpha series that decided, hey, I want to give this a try. And if you'd like to give it a try, you can find the link on the Facebook page. But let me see if I can find him. I don't see him. There he is.
User was moved to your channel.
I'm going to reach out now to the man of the hour, the guy that gave us a couple heart-stopping moments earlier, starting his own landscaping service at least once tonight. Rick Ravon, congratulations on the victory in the first ever SRE Bravo Series DW12 race.
That was, I don't even know what to say. Hold on, I got to save this replay. That was incredible.
I hope you're saving that replay. We watched you open up your own lawn service there. And I got to ask you how in the hell you saved that, because, man, you were all over the place, got it pointed right back on the track, and still brought her home for the win.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear. That's my wife in the background, of course. Yeah, she was cheering me on. She was.
How does she really feel?
Yeah, honey, how do you really feel? Why don't you tell me?
Freaking amazing.
I think she's happier than you are, Rick. Good grief.
No, because the whole time I was in the living room watching this on our TV, and I was like,
On ESPN, baby.
ESPN, and I was like, go, 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 yes! So was our daughter.
Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Okay, honey, bye. I love
Thank you,
guys.
honey. I love you too. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot the question. Oh, something about mowing the lawn?
Yeah, that was a heck of a recovery, man. Did not bring the caution out. You were able to hang on to that thing and not, loop it, damage it, whatever. Got her back on the track, brought it in for your money stop. Did you have to take a fast repair at that after mowing the lawn a little bit?
Yeah, I did, actually. And I knew that I would only need one more stop after that money stop, as you call it. So I short filled so I could run Hollingsworth down, because I knew he had a couple of seconds on me. So that was all I could do, because, Jeff was just so freaking quick. I mean, obviously we sat on the front row 1-2. So he was right there as far as speed is concerned. And it was everything I could do to run him down. I mean, we were coming through traffic, and then I finally got up on him. And then, hold on a second. I gotta take a look at this thing right here. I need to bring up the results so I can say Jax, right?
Jackson Bell.
Jackson Bell. Let me tell you something. This guy is going to be, he's going to be promoted. He's a first ballot, guy to get promoted up to the Alpha Series in SRE, because, oh my gosh, what a great job he did. He raced hard and he raced clean, just the way it should be. What a fight. What an incredible fight between me, Hollingsworth, and Bell. That Bell is impressive. I already know Hollingsworth is impressive. That doesn't surprise me. Jackson Bell, I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And all of a sudden, we're up there battling for the lead, and we're going back and forth, and it's nice and clean. I'm like, hey, this guy belongs up in the Alpha Series, man.
Well, now you mentioned Jackson Bell. That second to the last stop around, I believe it was lap 97, 95, 97, somewhere around that general area. He had about a 6-second gap on you, and next thing you know, you all are right there. What was going through your mind at that point?
Just trying to figure out what it's going to take to win the race. I mean, I had two cars in front of me, and both of them, obviously, I've raced Hollingsworth a million times. He's awesome. And Bell, I raced him tonight, I think, for the first time. I don't remember ever racing this guy before, because believe me, I would have taken note.
Would you believe me if I told you he's got a rookie class license?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. This guy, whoever he is, he probably has a lot of sim racing experience, I would guess, because nobody just comes out of the womb and just runs as good as this guy does, But as far as what was on my mind, I was just thinking about how am I going to be able to get past two of these great race car drivers. And I don't know, man, somehow we were able to pull it off in the Gould Charge. That was incredible. Jackson Bell, 41.503, sets the fastest lap of the race. This guy's going to be a contender. I had such a great time. This was one of the greatest races of my entire sim racing career of 25 years.
Man, it sounds like you got a little bit of excitement on it, And speaking of Jackson Bell, and I brought this up as we were watching because we saw you and him swap the lead, like 3 times every lap. And I was talking about, well, is he learning to get where to get the run, how to get the run? Is Rick, kind of figuring, okay, I'm going to put on my defensive driving school. But I was thinking, Jackson Bell with a rookie license, I went back to my experience racing with you, and it's like, well, I learned how to race an IndyCar a lot better by following this guy, and Jackson Bell was right there following you that whole time. I'm sure sitting under your learning tree, he had to pick up a whole lot, but he had something for y'all right there at the end. I wish he was in here and we can talk to him about it, but I will catch him the next time. Great run from him, and congratulations, Rick Ravon, top spot tonight at Pocono.
Yeah, Pocono. To answer your question, by the way, you just experiment. I don't have a mental book on this guy. I know Hollingsworth. I know how he races. I've raced with Brupp Hatcher already, Mark McFadden, Antonucci, Hollyfield, Tyler Bloom, Carl Burke, Michael Bourne. I know what these guys race like, so I kind of have a mental book on them for better or for worse. Sam Cooper, Bentley Glazer's amazing. William Fletcher's a darn good one. But I don't have anything on Jackson Bell. So yeah, obviously that's what you do during the race. You
do now.
Yeah, I do now.
You do now.
Now I know how good he is.
Rearview mirror, pal.
This is definitely a guy to watch in the future. But you just want to experiment and see where you could get him, where his weak points are, where his strong points are. And I'll tell you, he really didn't have any weak points. He was just consistent and smooth, and he raced you hard and clean, and that's what it's all about. What a great debut for the Bravo Series. Sim Racer's Edge, baby. This is awesome.
ESPN's happy to bring it. I'm glad I was able to be here and witness it. You guys kept this so interesting at the front of the field for so long, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it while you're sitting in here. I got to bring him in. I'm going to bring in our second place driver, Jeff Hollingsworth. Man, we saw you guys doing the Indy Snake there towards the end. I watched you get down a little too low on that Indy Snake and go mowing the lawn. We saw you get a connection issue, give up second to Jackson Bell to run third. When you lost that connection, or that you knew your signal was cutting out, did you slow down and drop down and get out of the way so you wouldn't flash back in? Because that's all I could figure, how you swapped from second to third while being out of the screen for a bit. But great charge back, Jeff, coming back for second place.
Yeah, as far as the grass and I don't know how to do the dang snake, man. I'm a stock car driver.
At least he admits it.
Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what I'm supposed to do? and then I had a you know what moment when I hit that grass. But as far as my connection, yeah, I
thought you were gone.
I didn't
you said before the race, Jeff, that you don't have a paint scheme for this car yet. Right. I've got the perfect one for you for next week.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
Hanes underwear.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
It was a lot of fun though. I had a real blast with everyone I raced against, and I guess Jackson's not on here, but man, that guy can race. I raced with him in some other leagues, and he's a good wheelman. So I hate Bentley didn't get a finish. He was really looking forward to it, but next week, and appreciate it and everything. It was fun.
Well, you bring up a good point. Next week, the series heads to probably the most different track we could possibly go to as we head to Kentucky. I'm going to start with you, Rick. Your thoughts going there next week?
I really don't know. I mean, Kentucky's a fun track, but as far as these cars, as far as they're going to handle what the setup's going to be, it's too early to tell what that race is going to be like, what the strategy is going to be like. But whoever made this setup, this Sim Racer's Edge setup for Pocono, this setup was dynamite. Absolutely,
nice.
Hands down, the best setup I've ever raced at this Pocono racetrack.
Yep, that was really good. I agree with Rick.
Well, there's a shout out to the engineers right there, man. And let's face it, everyone, what they're talking about is iRacing gives you a stock setup for every car, for every track that you can change yourself. Well, you have what's called open set leagues where everyone can run their own settings and change it to their own likings, or a fixed setup, which this league is. Everyone runs the same setup settings, spring rates, tire pressures, all that stuff on the car. But for this league, you have a couple of gentlemen that run it, and I know Dan Brasington is one of them, and I know some others. They put some input, and they spend hours on the track, not just running their car around to see, what the best setting is, but they run it in packs as well with other drivers to see how it's going to do in a pack in dirty air. And these guys put in tons of hours, and it just shows you the dedication in the class that this league shows.
Now, you just brought up a really good point, Byron. It's a question that I had asked earlier in the race, and now that we got Jeff and Rick here, now I know with the IR18, the newest air quote IndyCar that iRacing has, you can play with the weight jacker and you can play with the sway bar adjustments in a fixed setup league now. Can you play with the weight jacker in this car?
No, you can't. You can't, and that's what I like about it, because I always love fixed setups mean fixed setups. It doesn't mean, well, fixed, but you got a couple of adjustments. Somebody, like, I'll give you an example. Jeff Hollingsworth, sitting right here with us. We just ran Wednesday night at Gateway, and I put about 500 plus laps of practice in, and I thought I had it dialed in pretty good, but somehow, someway, he figured out a better combination, and he was just on rails. Nobody could catch him at Gateway, and that's why I prefer. I mean, it's part of the game. I get it, but fixed is fixed, and it does help a little bit, because instead of the arrow push killing everybody and nobody can pass, it does help to keep the racing close. I'll admit that, but this is great with the DW12 because everybody's got the exact same setup.
Yep.
And Byron brought up a good point about these guys running in packs and running, hundreds of laps during the week. There are open sessions where they're trying to dial in these setups, and they're open to anyone that wants to join. So if you want to try your hand here with the Sim Racers Edge Bravo Series, at just about any night of the week, you can find an SRE test session and just jump in, and if it's a fit for you and you want to give it a try, just let those guys know. Butch Davis, Dan Brazington, Nate Siefker, Sam Cooper Bennett. Let one of those guys know. Chris Walker. Just say, hey, can I get a league invite? And you two can be here on ESPN on a Saturday night in the DW12. But we're going to pretty much wrap it up for now. Rick, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
Oh, sure. I want to thank you guys up in the booth. I can't wait to listen to the replay of this race. Thanks, Byron Rodney. And thanks, Tony. And I'm so glad that you're out of the hospital and feeling better. That really, really, really made me happy tonight to see you back in the booth. I don't know who Brad Kirby is. Hello, Brad?
He's our new engineer.
Oh, hey, Brad. How you doing?
He's the man who brought you all the camera angles tonight. He was the one that was focusing in on everything we were running our mouths and flapping our gums on. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's great. It's good to meet you, Brad, and great job tonight. I want to thank everybody at Sim Racers Edge, obviously, everybody that put this league together and all the drivers. I want to thank my wife for supporting me. And I want to thank my teammate, Chris Samard. He's probably watching right now because he said he was going to. He didn't qualify for the because he finished in the top 5 in the Alpha Series. So unfortunately, he couldn't have been out there. He's my teammate. I want to thank the Lord Jesus most of all. I love you, Jesus, and thank you for the life you've given me. And thanks to everybody who tuned in and watched and supports this league. Don't forget the Alpha Series runs every Wednesday at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I think it is. Just great racing, great league, great guys, great fun, and great people up in the booth to keep you entertained, baby.
Yeah, we were talking about that Alpha Series. The first time that they debuted on ESPN, how close was that finish at Auto Club Speedway?
1/10,000th of a second.
1/10,000th of a second.
But Jeff Hollingsworth, we're going to go to you now. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
No.
Fair enough.
I'm kidding.
A man of few words. That's what I love about the military.
Jeff's wife, we need to talk to her about that.
Well, how about I thank you for your military service, sir?
I appreciate you. Hey, no, thanks to you guys. I can't wait to watch this either. It was a lot of fun, and everybody who came out and all the people that work hard at SRE, everybody works hard at ESPN. It's good to see you again, Rodney and Tony. It's good to see you again, brother. I'm glad you're doing better, and good to meet you, Brad, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. God bless. Be safe.
All right. So, quick rundown of the finishing order before we close this one out. Rick Ravon coming home with the victory, hard fought victory all night long. Jeff Hollingsworth able to hold on by less than a tenth of a second over Jackson Bell, came home in third. Yuri Burrowpatcher hanging on for fourth. Mark McFadden in fifth. Johnny Antonucci, another one of your fellow statesman, Rick Ravon. So New Jersey well represented in the top six.
Awesome.
Johnny Antonucci coming home, last car on the lead lap. James Brad, I'm going to let you take this one. What's his name?
James Langevin.
What he said, first car one lap down in seventh. First car one lap down in seventh, and I'll get that right sooner or later, I promise. Ron Hollyfield rounding out your top, Byron.
Oh, Leonard Elijah bringing her home in the ninth position. Shane Loveridge, man, heartbreak for him. He was just, pinballed all over the place, but he did manage to finish off 114 laps, bringing her home, rounding out the top 10. Tyler Bloom, that was the one, we were watching him with pit strategy, short pitting it. It had that undercut. It was working. It didn't work. Caution would come out, didn't come out. And it just, the iRacing glitch got him. He brings her home in 11th. Carl Burke in 12th. Michael Bourne, he finished 13th. Sam Cooper Bennett brings it home in a glorious finish of 14th. And he's going to kill me for that one. You know it. Bentley Glacier.
he will fly to Columbus, Ohio just to rent a car to punch you in the junk.
Well,
all the way from the UK.
Because he raced an earlier race today in the Formula Series, and I was ribbing him on that one a little bit, and I just kind of carried it over to tonight. But you know what? Sam's the boss, and the only reason I'm still here at ESPN is my termination papers got lost in the mail. William Fletcher, he rounds out your field at 6.
No, they didn't get lost in the mail. I used them as toilet paper.
Well,
I just want to say
I'm
one
still
thing.
here.
I just want to say one thing real quick. I forgot to say it in the interview. By the way, this is Rick Ravon, for those of you who don't know. This Jackson Bell, I wasn't going to start doing any kind of a snake or any kind of moving around. And when he got around me, he started doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I could do that too. So that's really when that started. I wasn't planning on doing it until the end of the race.
Well, they've outlawed it in the Alpha Series.
On that topic.
Yeah, they outlawed it here. You can't do the snake. You can only do one move. You can only make one move. So.
We had that conversation in the booth. To us, that's just a tire wear. I know you're trying to break the draft, but I think it's hurting you more in tire performance. That was a conversation we were having in the booth.
That's why I always go straight.
Yeah, what's your opinion on that, Rick?
I gotta go, fellas. I'll be safe.
All righty, Jeff.
In practice, I was able to run the full fuel run, and didn't really have a problem with tires, even though we got down to the nitty gritty where I had to pit. I didn't feel like get loose, but I guess the temperatures came up a little bit, made it a little slippery out there, so it just kind of caught me off guard. That's all. I'm just glad I was able to save it and continue on, because, that could have ended the night right there.
Well, that track temp did kind of come up on us big time. Track temp started the race at 100 degrees. Track temp, we finished it at 90. We started it. Finished it at 100, so we knew it was getting a little slippery.
Yeah.
And we seen you make a couple of moves that, kind of caught our attention. Was like, damn, he got some faith in them tires.
Yeah, and I was probably wearing them down a little bit. Like I said, it jumped out at me. The ambient temperature went up, track temperature went up, so I just got caught out. It's a mistake. Hey, man, nobody's perfect, but we still got lucky enough to come away with the win.
Yeah.
Well, that is.
Congratulations on the win, Rick. Tony, your thoughts on this race here at Pocono, and your thoughts just wrapping up the whole night.
Well, it never ceases to amaze me every time that I think a race is going to go one way. And I freely admit that I put the over and under at 5 cautions tonight. We had 3.
Oh, by the way, was it a dumpster fire or was it a good race? Didn't I tell you this was going to be a good race?
That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm not afraid to eat crow.
Yeah, we were having him off the ledge.
And
I told you.
And it never ceases to amaze me the level of talent from top to bottom that show up week in and week out in the entirety of the Sim Racers Edge family of series. I was nothing short of impressed. You guys had, I believe, 4 green flag pit stops tonight, which at a track like Pocono is usually unheard of. So the level of talent in this field is nothing short of remarkable. And I cannot thank every driver who showed up tonight to participate. It's a heartfelt thank you. This was a great welcome back race for me coming back to help broadcast a Sim Racer's Edge race. Thank you all. I'm looking forward to being back in a booth this coming Wednesday night with Frank Marchese for the Alpha Series. But yeah, no, this was awesome competition all night long.
Well, just to tell you what I think of this Bravo series, I saw that people who were setting up to join, I talked to a couple of people, and I normally run a different league on Saturday nights. I made a commitment to it, and I said, the heck with that commitment. I'm going to make a commitment to the Bravo series on Saturday nights, at least the ones I can make, because usually Saturdays are reserved for like family, friends. I might not be able to make every race, but damn, if this isn't just so much fun with the DW12 and the fixed setups and whoever's making the setup, this one was fantastic. I have a feeling it's going to be like this every single race on Saturday night. So everybody watching, don't forget to tune in if you want to see some fantastic racing every Saturday night right here in the Sim Racer's Edge Bravo Series
on ESPN.
Oh yeah, right here on ESPN. On ESPN. Or maybe we should do like ESBN.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us tonight. For Byron Rodney and Brad Kirby and the production truck, thank you for everything you've done tonight. This is Tony Trapasso saying, remember, ladies and gentlemen, as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic.
Good night, everyone.
That's good advice.